Okay, we're going to get going here. Can everybody hear my mic? Can everybody hear me, or am I just loud enough? Oh, that's good. All right, we're going to get going. I know there was some general confusion over where in the IMU breakfast was, so I know we'll have some stragglers, but we only have 30 minutes, so I want to jump right in. My name is Bob Flynn, and I manage the box service for IU, and I want to welcome you all for a session called Box at IU Can Do That. And this is a discussion about some of the creative ways that people are using Box. So first, a couple of things about where we are with Box. We are currently using about 34 terabytes of the 300 terabytes we have paid for. So if you were kind of thinking, do I put the kids' pictures in there? Go for it. You got the space. We will hit 52,000 users today. I checked about 10 minutes ago, and we were 100 short, but we're adding 100 or so a day, so I feel relatively confident we'll hit that. That's the breakdown. It's about 60% students, 25% staff, 15 faculty. 43,000 of those users have less than 100 megabytes in their account. Now, I consider that a success, and you'll hear more about that later, because Box is real, storage is boring. No offense if any of my storage colleagues are in the room, but storage is boring these days. It's about the collaboration that really makes Box interesting, and you don't have to have anything in Box to be able to collaborate with folks who do. 44% of our users have been active in their account in the last month, which is Hall of Fame numbers, still under 50%. We'd like to be higher, but it's pretty good among our higher ed peers. Just a couple of quick stats here on how people are accessing Box in, I can't even call it a non-traditional way anymore, but so iPad, iPhone, Android, and somewhere out there are 2 BlackBerry Playbook users. If you run into them, give them the help number. They need it. All right. Sorry if Sukhrob's in the room. He will be angry with me. All right. And those aren't the only apps that people use to interface with Box. So to the credit of John Hare and Mark Lynch and that team, IU Cloud Storage is far and away the most popular way to connect with Box outside of the web browser. Box Edit is heavily used. If you're not into Box Edit, I suggest you get there. It's much easier and more reliable than syncing things to your desktop. Then you see Sync and iPad and other apps. Now, I want to take a step back for a moment. You saw that we were 52,000 users. We did a little forensics, and we found out who our 50,000th user is, and he's here with us today, Noah Gums. Come on up, Noah. Round of applause for Noah. All right. Greetings, sir. And Box has sent this massive bag of swag. Well, it was in a box, but this bag of swag for Noah here. He's got a hoodie and a T-shirt and iPad cover and iPod cover, the Box hat. I mean, what more could you want? So thank you, Noah, for taking time out of your day to come and get this and enjoy. And spread the good word about Box amongst your fellow students. There's still another, 60,000 of them out there not using it, so get to work. All right, so this is the photos that Box sent us of them packing the bag for Noah and at Box headquarters there. All right, so what is Box? It's storage, sure. It's collaboration. It's a platform. Oh, maybe not a training platform, but it's a development platform. But Box has a lot of features. So we're going to spend the next, I don't know how we have, 25 minutes going one by one through these and talking in excruciating detail about each one so you know how to use Box. No, maybe not. Maybe that's not the recipe for an engaged audience. So we'll move on beyond that and talk a little bit about how people are using Box. And it's really hard to describe to somebody, well, I've got a Dropbox account. That's like cloud storage, right? Well, yeah, but it's different. So we've come to the conclusion that you really have to talk about Box just in how people use Box, and that's what we're hoping to do today. So I want to harken back to another paradigm shift, a scant what, 6 years ago when the first iPhone was released. So to refresh your memory, we're going to go here and watch something.
This is how you turn it on. This is your music.
Oh, it's not showing up. Hold on.
This is your email.
This is not your presentation. Let's try that again. Sorry, Steve, we had this working, didn't we? Apologies for the technical difficulty here. Let's try that. And go back. So the reason I'm showing this is because it was so fundamentally different.
This is how you turn it on.
They had to
this is
tell
your
you
music.
These basics.
This is your email. This is the web. And this
is buffering. All right, it must be an AT&T iPhone. All right, let's go back to the slide. So the point there is that the iPhone was so different that they had to show you what we now consider to be just fundamental functionality of a smartphone. My God, you can take calls on it. No, you can surf the web. I watched, and this is really entertaining to do, I watched the original keynote where Steve Jobs released the iPhone. He's like, multi-touch. You know, yes, we've patented that. Well, they bought it. I mean, somebody else had multi-touch, but they brought them together in one device. Visual voicemail was like a big deal. You can actually choose which order you want to listen to your voicemail. These things that we take for granted now. So it was a real paradigm shift. And so Box is a bit of a paradigm shift as well. So I'm going to talk about some of these use cases. So we put together, just in the process of putting out Box as a service, and I'm just going to rifle through use cases here, and then at the end I might ask you for some of yours if we have time. So we had to put out a proposal as we were brainstorming on how to do group accounts in Box. So we put this draft document out. Well, how do you get it out to people, get comments, things like that? So we used Box. Since we didn't know who was going to comment, we used what's called a self-inviting link, where we gave a link a certain permission level and emailed that out to the community and said, if you want to give feedback, invite yourself to this collaboration and give your comments. Since we didn't know how many people would be there or if people would be intimidated because, you know, some bigwig, their boss is going to be on there and they don't want to comment, we hid collaborators. They could still do commenting. And we wanted to restrict it to folks at IU and doing the commenting, and you can do that as well. These are all various settings that can be combined to meet your situation. Digital art critique. Kelly Kanaga is a faculty member at IU Northwest. She teaches a graphics design course. And OnCourse didn't allow for the file sizes they need to critique each other's work online. So they used Box. Maximum file size is 5 gigabytes. That got them there. And they use commenting. And also in Box, and this is, few people know this, you can like things just like on Facebook. So they would go through a series of images that were variations one of the other, and her classmates could vote on which one they liked the best. Mobile app development. A couple of guys, actually I think student hourlies for UITS up at IU Kokomo, were given an assignment to create a GPA calculator for Android. So they started doing this via email, and it was really messy. And then they decided to use Box. So they were putting a bunch of files up there, code files and things, some of them quite large. They were commenting around them. They were using a Box web document for keeping their notes. They were using the email notifications to know when the other guy had gotten a little work done, so when files had been updated. And they were checking things on the fly on their own phones as they went along. So again, they were adapting the various features of the tool to meet their use case. So, do I have any folks here who have to outfit classroom technology? Anybody in the room? All right, some guys in the back, some of the usual suspects in the back there. Well, if you're building out a classroom now or refitting a classroom now, do you want to put a VCR in there? Probably not. I understand there was like this collective decision, no more VCRs across IU. Well, what if the faculty member for the course still needs to present that media to their students? So they worked with faculty council up at IU South Bend, a class called The Art of Looking, Women in French Cinema, and they found that it was fair use for them to digitize those films. They put them online. Then they invite the students with preview-only permissions. They can come to the browser and watch the film. They can't download it. They can't share it with anybody else, but they are able to watch it there. They can also, so that leverages the video preview, the inline preview, and they also have an audit of everybody who comes in previews because you have to be logged in to be able to see it, so they have those access stats as well. I learned this one yesterday. Is Charlie in the room? Charlie? All right. I love this one. So rec sports, they teach people how to swim over there in the pool. The instructors have these waterproof iPad cases. They get down in the water and they film the people as they're swimming, and they capture those videos and upload them to Box in a collaborative folder with the student. They put comments in there about what they need to work on with their strokes so the students can watch themselves swimming and see how the comments are relevant to what they need to work on. Love that one. So they're using mobile upload. You can upload directly to Box from the mobile device, video preview. They're leveraging an organizational account, so all these videos aren't piling up on somebody's personal account. And then they're doing one-on-one collaborations with the swimming students. I love this one as well. So there's a professor here on this campus, teaches phonetics in the Spanish department. He has a network of native speakers around the Spanish-speaking world. He's created a collaboration folder, invited them. They create free Box accounts. They have nothing to do with IU. Every so often, every week, couple of weeks, he sends them an email and says, read this sentence for me in Spanish. They create an audio file, drop it in the file. Instantly, as students have multiple accents in Spanish, reading the exact same sentence to compare so that they can improve their phonetic skills. Love it. If you were at last year's talk, you may have heard me mention this one. There's a field consulting course at the Kelley School of Business where faculty member oversees 30 student teams. Each team has their own folder. The team members are co-owners of that folder. They do their team collaboration there. They're doing field consulting, so they have external clients that they work with. So maybe it's the YMCA or the Alumni Association or something. They set up a folder, invite the client to that subfolder. They put the deliverables in there. They have a conversation around the deliverables with the students. This went so well that one of the companies at the end of the consulting gig went out and signed a contract with Box because they saw how effective it was for helping them work. So, override default notifications. I can guarantee you the faculty member turned off notifications for that folder because there was a lot of traffic. All right, I love this one. University of Michigan. They have used, this is at their School of Government, I believe. They collect all of their students' resumes via Box, but then they put them together in a resume book, and there's a request form on their website where local employers can say, we'd like your resume book. They do that just to capture it. It generates an email to them that says, here's the resume book. It's online. It's at this custom URL. And it's a relatively large document, but it's a way for the alumni and the local businesses to have ready access to the resumes of their students. And they also get metrics, so instead of mailing these out and just hoping people read them, they know exactly how many people have downloaded it and how effective it is. It's a statewide IT conference. Anybody else here speaking at statewide? All right, you've received the emails. Please upload your presentation slides here. We're getting that sorted out, but it does a couple of things. We use a self-inviting link so that all the presenters can come in with the permissions that will allow them to upload files. But at the same time, there's a custom URL and open access to the public, so when they post this folder of files, everyone will be able to download any of the presentation slides that they want. And you can bet they'll suppress notifications too. In fact, we used here a way to suppress all notifications on the folder period so that the speakers that are uploading files don't each have to do that personally. It's just turned off for the whole folder. EDUCAUSE. Recently I spoke at the EDUCAUSE conference, and in fact the same thing holds true just yesterday for the folks that were presenting at the IT water cooler presentation. I saw up to the last minute people making changes and uploading and downloading slides because I was seeing the notifications on my phone. Single source the content. So in this presentation that I gave at EDUCAUSE, we had people from 5 different universities working on 5 different organizations working on one slide deck. We were able to do commenting as we went through developing the slides. We created a subfolder of resources for attendees. Not only did we put our slides in there, but in Box you can also add just a bookmark to a folder. You can take a URL of some resource that you find is valuable. So since this was a collection of higher ed institutions talking about Box and how we rolled it out, I put in there a link to IU's KB documentation on Box. And so that was in the whole list of resources that we could then make a custom URL for and present to the attendees at the end of the online presentation. A couple of other use cases that I really enjoy. The folks at U of Michigan, they use Xerox scanners. They were able to use the Box API to interface with the Xerox scanner so you can scan straight to Box when you authenticate to their scanner. It will send you, and they've even hacked it, I guess, to put a button in there, scan to Box. And so you can scan from that straight into their Box accounts. Box Embed. Had an interesting conversation this morning with Jonathan from the CTL about how he's using Box Embed. If you don't know what Box Embed is, let me show you here real quickly. So you can embed, so here's my slide presentation, embedded in a web page, and you can allow the save the file, download, or email the, share the file, excuse me, download, print, oh, and we're off the screen there. Man. Doesn't help if you can't see what I'm talking about. There we go. You can go full screen, you can zoom in, print, so all of those things. You can also embed a folder in a web page, a Box folder. So what you see here is actually that statewide IT presentations folder where all of the content of the conference will live. It's embedded in this web page. I can go full screen with this and view the presentation that way and zoom out. Just the same sorts of things you can do if you're actually in a Box page. So that is Box Embed. Let's go back here. Hope it takes us to the right place. You can mail to folder. Imagine having a t-shirt design contest. You can put out an email link that says just email your submissions here. It strips off the attachment and drops it right into a Box folder. You can password protect links that you put out. So if you share a link, you can put a password on it. You can put an expiration date on it as well. So in this project of rolling out Box, we're not alone. We work with several other institutions. IU is one of 8 on an advisory board. But there are now pushing 60 higher ed institutions total that are doing this. And we're starting to collect this information and find consistent ways to share it with each other. So Michigan has kind of developed a format for telling the stories, and IU has developed a format for, I guess, storytelling as opposed to capturing the information. So I'm going to show you this one here, and let's hope that goes full screen. And this is using a cool new tool called Ginger. Let's hope this works.
You're part of a committee planning a large event. Files need to be emailed back and forth. Paper copies are being shuffled around. It's difficult to keep track of the most recent copy. That was IU's Carol Wood's life before Box. After introducing Box to her planning committee, collaboration and discussion began to happen right away. No longer did she have to worry about who had the most recent version of any file. Since Box was always up to date, everyone was kept in the know, and paper copies were eliminated throughout the entire process. Thinking about planning an event on your campus? Think inside the box.
So when we started to talk about how to capture these use cases on a regular basis, we first worked with our media folks and said, oh, we got 3 really good ones. We want to go interview those folks, get them on film, talking about it. And then we realized that doesn't really scale. Those are pricey resources. And if we want to have a lot of stories to tell, we need to be able to do it quickly and effectively. So we're going to start creating these Ginger videos, put them up, and tell the story of how people are using Box to accomplish the disparate tasks that they have at the university. So so we're collecting them locally, we're sharing them globally, we'll be doing this, we'll be asking the other schools to do the same thing, so we'll have a broad range of resources. Oh, there's one more that I learned about from UPenn that just, part of me, it just drives me crazy. So there was a researcher there who had this massive data set, and he would break it up into chunks and encrypt those chunks and put them on hard drives and mail them around the world, the hard drives, to his collaborators who needed that data. They would take it, decrypt the data, do whatever they needed to do with it, re-encrypt it, put it back on the hard drive, and mail it back to him. So there's these, I imagine these little hard drives flying around the world. So now he does it in Box. And of course, it's same-day service, and he's not mailing it out. And when he gets it all back together, he puts the data set back together and then throws it up on Amazon or something. He doesn't leave it in Box, but he uses it for collaboration. So, as I mentioned, we're standardizing the format, we're telling the stories, and our desire is to find out what your stories are. So we're going to be collecting more of these stories. I'd be happy to hear some now if anybody has a use they would like to share. Or if you have any questions about Box, I can take those as well. I see a timid hand from Jeff in the back there. I don't have a microphone for, or maybe we do. It's not on.
Assigning tasks as a collaborative part of that functionality, and we used Basecamp to assign tasks and then fold Box over that. But
okay, so two things there. What's coming from Box? I'll take that one second, and then the first one is there a way to assign tasks or manage tasks in Box? So in the comment, when you're commenting around a document, and unfortunately Box doesn't provide a way to comment around folders full of documents, but on specific documents. Just in that commenting thread feature, you can turn a comment into a task. You can assign it. It's fairly rudimentary. I think it's like review, update, approve are your options, and you can assign a date. That sends the email to the person you've assigned it to, or persons. They can go in once they've done it and mark complete. So it's fairly rudimentary, but there is that sort of way. For an individual, you can see those in the notifications. Maybe I should stop the waving of hands and bring up a browser here. One that has a Box account open. Let's do this. Here we go. This is our test instance of Box. So up here, you can see, is that on the screen? Ever so barely. Hold on. Up here you can see, under your messages, you can see what tasks have been assigned to you. Thankfully I have none right now, and that's because this is a test instance. On the other one I have plenty. So that's answer. I wouldn't see it as the only piece of a project management solution. Now in terms of new things coming from Box, thankfully last year at their conference they had changed everything by the time we walked out the door at the keynote, which was very disruptive to our documentation, our users, our support. This year, for better or for worse, things are trickling out. So they announced a number of things. One is Box Notes, which is real-time collaboration a la Google Docs. Box hired away Sam Scalacci, who invented Google Apps. He hired him away, or they hired him away, and he now works for Box, and he created what they call Box Notes, and I can show you that. We have a few people on beta testing right now with Box Notes. Oops. See, Andy, there is a security component of this. I have 9 days left to update my passphrase. All right. And here's how easy it is to collaborate with another institution. I'm in a Michigan Box folder here. If I click over here, I'm going to go back to my own. If I go in, choose new, I can choose a new Box Note. Statewide GC demo. And this will create a page. We used this recently for a team retreat for my team, and we were able to team edit in real time the agenda and the notes of the retreat. The little icon in my head over on the side, they called a note head. Everybody that's in there, their little note head is floating around. You can see where they are in the document. So that's one thing that's new that's coming from Box. Box is completely re-architecting Sync, which has been its problem child for a while. So Sync 4 beta is out. If you're adventurous and want to get on that, you can certainly get on that. My favorite thing, in addition to reliability and it being significantly faster, some dozen times faster than the old one, is that you can do subfolder sync. So instead of having to sync only top-level folders, you can drill way down and say, I just want that one subfolder. Pardon me? I don't know. I recall some conversation about that. I don't know. So that is a frequent question that is asked, and I will check on that. There is also some back-end stuff. They're putting in place a rules engine. So files dropped in this folder, please do the following actions to. They're putting in place metadata to be able to tag files for metadata. That's also tied to the rules engine. Anything tag this, do that too. Seems like there's one more thing coming, and I can't remember it off the top of my head right now. Other questions? Yes, ma'am. So that's an IU thing. Yes, so IU has 4 data classifications. Currently, we allow public and university internal data there. We don't allow restricted or critical. We are close to having restricted approved, and we've started the process, the conversation around critical data and HIPAA alignment and those things. I don't expect that one to go quickly. The other one I would hope to have in place by the end of the semester. I did remember the last thing, and it was about Box Sync. It used to be limited to 40,000 files. Now, I have had 2 people complain about that. Now there's no limit. It's been tested to over 100,000, but God, if you're syncing that many files, leave them in the cloud, for God's sake, and just look at them when you need them. Other questions? How are you guys using Box? Anybody have a story to tell? Anybody else swimming with sharks, like one-up the guys at Rec Sports? You know, swimming lessons. No, I'm out there getting pictures in the mouth of a shark and uploading those real time. Nobody? Right. So to that point, so first let me quickly recap what you said for the online audience. So in the Technology Center Consulting Group, they do a lot of it's a very distributed workforce. There are times when they need the consultants to print out signs and put them out. They drop those in a box folder. They assign the task. It's easy to see when it's been done by whom. But there is the folder sprawl issue. And so I recently met with the vice president of platform at Box, and that was one of the things that we talked about. And he said nobody feels that pain worse than the folks who work at Box. He said he has 75 pages of top-level folders. So Box is engaged in what an initiative called Back to Basics, where they're completely reimagining the user experience, and they're looking at ideas like being able to put all of your collaborative folders under one folder, or manage how the folders show up for you in the interface. I have met one person that actually likes the multiple folder thing, and I mentioned her earlier, Kelly Kanaga at IU Northwest, so shout out to Kelly. She's like, I love being able to just click through and see all those folders. So Kelly's a special person. In a nice way. She's a very creative person, so I am not one to question. Yes? There is. This may not be the best. Oh, yeah, I'm in my account, so this will be a good one. If you, let's see. I go back here to the top, jump to folder here. It will pull down your whole folder tree. And you can go wherever you want quickly. One thing I neglected to mention, there's very powerful search feature in Box. Not only does it search file names, folder names, but it does full text search. And you can save searches. So if I search for something like support and I just hit enter, it's going to take me into all search results. But notice here at the top, you can filter by file type. And you can filter by which folders you want it to check. And then at the end, it's going to create a unique URL, which you can then bookmark. So if you want to save a search that you need frequently, you can do that easily. And you can just create your own folder, not shared with anybody else, but of saved searches, and just bookmark them there, label them whatever you want, that sort of thing. Yes, sir?
Having all the folders at the top level, I find very frustrating as well. So anytime I have a new folder or assign a new folder, the very first thing is I tag it, and then I display by tag.
Very nice. Yes. So you can tag. Currently, and I'll be honest, I don't get how what they're doing with meta tagging is going to be different than what they do with tags now. I'm waiting to see that. And we recently got a test instance so we can start to play with some of these things. So they currently have the ability to tag content. I don't know if you can stack tags on one piece of data, like one file, if you can add multiple tags. I'm not sure. I'm not a heavy tag user, but you can. I think we've been given the high sign actually a few minutes ago to wrap up. So I want to thank you all for coming. I want to thank you for your interest in Box. If you have any questions, I'll stick around a little bit, and enjoy the rest of your day at the conference.